The rain poured down in sheets as Mia hurried down the dimly lit street, her heart pounding. She clutched her phone, knuckles white, the memory of Karen's crazed expression still seared in her mind. That woman had followed her all the way from the grocery store, screaming obscenities and demanding Mia get off her property. Mia glanced over her shoulder, panic rising. Where was she? The constant drumming of the rain made it hard to hear anything. She picked up her pace, her worn sneakers splashing through puddles. If she could just make it home, lock the door, and call the police. Suddenly, headlights flashed, and a car pulled up alongside her. Mia's breath caught in her throat as the window rolled down, revealing Karen's twisted, furious face. "You think you can just run away from me?" she snarled. "This is my neighborhood, and I won't have some entitled little brat trespassing." Mia's mind raced. "Please, I'm just trying to get home. I didn't do anything wrong." "Wrong?" Karen interrupted, her voice dripping with venom. "You're damned right you did something wrong. You let your brat of a daughter wander onto my property, and now I'm going to make you pay for it." Mia's eyes widened in horror as Karen reached into the passenger seat and pulled out a large hunting knife, its blade glinting in the dim light. "No, please." "Shut up and get in the car," Karen growled, thrusting the knife toward Mia. "We're going for a little ride." Trembling, Mia slowly opened the car door and slid into the passenger seat, her mind racing. How had this simple trip to the store turned into a nightmare? And where was her daughter, Lily, now? Mia's chest tightened with fear at the thought of the sweet, innocent teenager facing Karen's wrath. As Karen peeled out, tires screeching, Mia glanced around frantically, desperate to find some way to escape or call for help. But the streets were deserted, and her phone remained stubbornly dark, its battery drained. She was trapped, at the mercy of this unhinged woman. "What do you want from me?" Mia asked, her voice quivering. Karen's eyes narrowed. "I want you to learn your place, girl. This is my neighborhood, and I won't have your kind coming in and ruining it. You're going to pay for what your daughter's done." Mia's heart sank. She had to find a way to get through to Karen, to reason with her. But the woman's eyes burned with an insane fury, and Mia knew she was dangerously close to the edge. One wrong move, and she might not make it home alive. Lily huddled in the corner of her bedroom, tears streaming down her face. The Ring camera footage replaying on her laptop screen showed the terrifying confrontation between her mother and the deranged woman from the neighborhood. She watched, helpless, as Karen shoved Mia into the car, brandishing a knife. "Mom," Lily whispered, her voice trembling. She gripped the edge of the laptop, knuckles white. Where were they going? What was that lunatic going to do to her mother? Frantically, Lily replayed the footage, searching for any clues. The camera had captured the license plate of Karen's car, but that information felt useless as Lily stared at the dark, empty street outside her window. There was no way she could chase after them. Panic rising, Lily leaped to her feet and began pacing the room. She had to do something. She couldn't just sit here while her mother was in grave danger. But what could she do? The police would take too long, and by then, it might be too late. Suddenly, Lily's gaze fell on the small Swiss Army knife she kept in her desk drawer. It was a gift from her father, meant for camping trips and outdoor adventures. But now, it might be the only weapon she had to defend her mother. Steeling her resolve, Lily grabbed the knife and hurried downstairs. She had to get to her car and follow that vehicle, no matter the cost. As she flung open the front door, the bitter wind and driving rain nearly knocked her off her feet, but she pressed on, determined to save her mother. Lily jumped into her old Honda Civic and jammed the key into the ignition, her hands shaking. The engine roared to life, and she threw the car into gear, tires squealing as she peeled out of the driveway. She had to find them before it was too late. Gripping the steering wheel, Lily scanned the streets, her eyes darting left and right. Where could that deranged woman have taken her mother? The possibilities filled her with dread, but she refused to give in to her fear. She had to be strong, for Mia's sake. As Lily raced through the rainy night, her heart pounded in her ears, the adrenaline coursing through her veins. She was going to find her mother, no matter what it took. And when she did, she'd make that twisted woman pay for what she'd done. Mia's heart pounded as Karen's car careened down the deserted streets, the knife still clutched tightly in the woman's hand. She tried to think of a way to escape, but with the knife pointed at her and the car speeding through the rain, any sudden movement could prove fatal. "Where are you taking me?" Mia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Karen's eyes narrowed, her gaze fixed on the road ahead. "Somewhere we won't be disturbed," she growled. "Somewhere I can teach you a lesson about respecting your betters." Mia swallowed hard, her mind racing. This woman was completely unhinged, driven by some twisted sense of entitlement and a burning desire for revenge. And Mia was powerless to stop her. As the car sped through the dark, winding streets, Mia's thoughts turned to Lily. Was she safe at home? Had she seen the confrontation on the Ring camera footage? Mia prayed her daughter would have the good sense to stay put and call the police. The last thing she wanted was for Lily to come after her and get caught in the crossfire. Suddenly, the car lurched to the side, tires screeching, and Mia was thrown against the door. Karen had turned down a narrow, unpaved road, the car bouncing and jostling as it made its way through the darkness. "Where are we?" Mia asked, her voice trembling. "My own private little slice of heaven," Karen replied, a twisted grin spreading across her face. "Nobody around for miles to hear you scream." Mia's stomach twisted with dread. She had to get out of this car, and fast. As Karen slowed to navigate a particularly rough patch of road, Mia took a deep breath and made her move. Lunging forward, she grabbed the steering wheel, yanking it sharply to the side. The car careened off the road, bouncing and lurching through the underbrush. Karen shrieked, her knife slicing through the air, but Mia ducked just in time, the blade missing her by inches. The car came to a sudden, jarring stop as it collided with a dense thicket of trees. Mia wasted no time, flinging open the door and stumbling out into the rain-soaked darkness. She had to get away, find help, before Karen came after her again. Mia ran, her legs pumping, the sound of Karen's enraged screams echoing through the trees. She had to keep going, no matter how tired or afraid she felt. Her life, and Lily's, depended on it. Lily's hands gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white, as she raced through the dark, rain-soaked streets. She had to find her mother, and fast. The images from the Ring camera footage played over and over in her mind, the sight of Karen wielding that knife making her blood run cold. She scanned the roads desperately, searching for any sign of Karen's car. Where could that deranged woman have taken her mother? Lily's heart pounded, fear and adrenaline coursing through her veins. She couldn't lose Mia, not like this. Suddenly, Lily noticed a small, unpaved road up ahead, barely visible in the darkness. Something told her to turn down it, and she didn't hesitate, the old Honda bouncing and jostling as she navigated the rough terrain. As she rounded a bend, Lily's eyes widened in horror. There, in the distance, she could see the wreckage of a car, its headlights still shining through the rain. Without a moment's hesitation, she floored the accelerator, her car hurtling toward the scene. Pulling up alongside the crashed vehicle, Lily jumped out, her eyes frantically scanning the area. "Mom," she called out, her voice shrill with panic. "Mom, where are you?" There was no response, only the sound of the rain pounding against the twisted metal. Lily's heart raced as she circled the car, searching for any sign of her mother. Had Karen dragged her off into the woods? Or... Lily swallowed hard, refusing to entertain the worst-case scenario. Steeling her resolve, Lily gripped the Swiss Army knife in her hand and plunged into the dense underbrush, her feet splashing through the mud. "Mom," she called out again, her voice echoing through the trees. "Can you hear me?" Lily pushed forward, her eyes straining to see through the darkness. The rain was relentless, making it hard to keep her footing. But she couldn't give up, not when her mother's life was at stake. As she stumbled through the brush, Lily caught a glimpse of movement up ahead. Her heart leaped as she recognized the familiar silhouette of a person running. "Mom," she cried, her voice laced with hope and relief. But as the figure drew closer, Lily's elation turned to horror. It wasn't her mother, it was Karen, her face twisted with rage, the hunting knife still clutched in her hand. Mia's lungs burned as she ran, the rain stinging her eyes. She could hear Karen's thundering footsteps behind her, the woman's enraged shouts echoing through the trees. Adrenaline surged through her veins, fueling her desperate dash for freedom. She had to keep going, had to find a way to escape this deranged woman. Mia's mind raced, searching for any sign of a road, a house, anything that could offer a glimmer of hope. But the dense forests seemed to stretch on endlessly, the darkness closing in around her. Suddenly, Mia caught a glimpse of a car in the distance, its headlights shining through the rain. Relief flooded her, and she mustered every last bit of energy, pushing her exhausted body to its limits. As she drew closer, Mia's heart sank. It was her own car, the one she had driven to the grocery store, and it was wrecked, the front end crumpled against a thick tangle of trees. Panic gripped her, and she spun around, searching for another way out. But there was nowhere to go. Karen was closing in, her knife glinting in the faint light. Mia's lungs burned, her legs aching, and she knew she couldn't run any farther. She was trapped, at the mercy of this unhinged woman. Mia backed up, her hands trembling. "Please," she begged, her voice quavering. "Just let me go. I won't tell anyone, I promise." Karen's eyes narrowed, her lips curling into a cruel smile. "Oh no," she growled. "You've caused me enough trouble already. It's time you learned your lesson." Mia's heart raced as Karen advanced, the knife raised high. She squeezed her eyes shut, bracing for the impact, when suddenly, a familiar voice pierced the darkness. "Mom," Lily cried, her voice laced with panic and relief. Mia's eyes flew open, and she watched in horror as her daughter emerged from the trees, the small Swiss Army knife clutched in her hand. "Lily, no," she screamed. "Get out of here." But it was too late. Karen had already turned her attention to the newcomer, a twisted grin spreading across her face. "Well, well," she purred. "Isn't this a family reunion?" Lily's heart pounded as she stared at the deranged woman, the knife glinting in her hand. Her mind raced, trying to process the terrifying scene unfolding before her. She had to find a way to save her mother, but the fear coursing through her veins made it hard to think clearly. "Let her go," Lily said, her voice quivering. She gripped the Swiss Army knife tightly, hoping her trembling hands wouldn't betray her nerves. Karen let out a chilling laugh. "Oh, I don't think so, dear," she said, her eyes narrowing. "Your mother and I have some unfinished business to attend to." Mia's eyes pleaded with Lily, begging her to turn back, to save herself. But Lily refused to abandon her mother to this madwoman's twisted wrath. She had to try, no matter the cost. "Please," Lily said, taking a tentative step forward. "Let her go, and I'll do anything you want." Karen's lips curled into a cruel smile. "Anything you say," she purred, her gaze raking over Lily. "Well now, that's an offer I can't refuse." Mia's heart sank as she realized what Karen was implying. "No, Lily, don't." But before she could finish, Karen lunged forward, her knife slashing through the air. Lily barely had time to react, her reflexes kicking in as she raised the Swiss Army knife to defend herself. The blades collided with a sickening clash, and Lily felt the impact reverberate through her arms. She stumbled backward, her eyes wide with terror, as Karen's knife came at her again, the woman's face twisted with maniacal fury. Lily knew she couldn't keep this up forever. Her arms were already growing tired, and she could feel a fear threatening to overwhelm her. She had to find a way to gain the upper hand, to stop this mad woman before she hurt someone. Glancing around, Lily's gaze landed on a thick branch lying on the ground. Without hesitation, she dropped the knife and lunged for the makeshift weapon, swinging it with all her might as Karen came at her again. The branch connected with a sickening thud, and Karen let out a cry of pain, her knife clattering to the ground. Lily didn't stop to celebrate her victory, though. She knew she had to act fast if she wanted to save her mother. Grabbing the hunting knife, she turned to Mia, her eyes wild with determination. "Run," she shouted, pushing the weapon into her mother's hands. "Get out of here now." Mia's heart pounded as she gripped the hunting knife, the weight of the weapon feeling foreign and terrifying in her hands. Her gaze darted between Lily and Karen, the latter slowly recovering from the blow to her head. "Lily, I can't leave you," Mia began, her voice trembling. "Go," Lily yelled, her eyes fierce with determination. "I'll hold her off. Just get out of here and call the police." Mia's throat tightened, the thought of abandoning her daughter to this mad woman's wrath nearly paralyzing her. But she knew Lily was right. Their only chance was to get help. Steeling her resolve, Mia turned and ran, her legs pumping as she raced back toward the wrecked car. She had to find a way to call for help, to get the authorities to this remote, desolate location before it was too late. As she ran, Mia could hear the sounds of the struggle behind her, the grunts and shouts as Lily fought to keep Karen at bay. Her heart ached, knowing her daughter was putting herself in harm's way to protect her. Reaching the car, Mia frantically searched for her phone, praying the battery hadn't died. To her relief, the device flickered to life, and she quickly dialed 911, her fingers trembling. "Please, you have to send help," she cried into the phone. "My daughter and I are trapped in the woods, and this woman is trying to kill us." The dispatcher's calm voice responded, urging Mia to stay on the line and provide more details. But Mia's attention was torn, her eyes drawn back to the dark forest, where the sounds of the confrontation continued to echo. "Lily," she whispered, her heart filled with anguish and fear. She had to get back to her daughter, to protect her. But the dispatcher's voice was insistent, reminding her that the police were on their way. Torn between her maternal instinct to rush to Lily's aid and the rational need to summon help, Mia paced anxiously, her grip on the knife tightening. Every second felt like an eternity, and she knew that Lily's life hung in the balance. As the sounds of the struggle faded, Mia's breath caught in her throat. "Lily," she called out, her voice laced with panic. "Lily, answer me." The only response was the relentless drumming of the rain, and Mia knew she couldn't wait any longer. Steeling her nerves, she plunged back into the darkness, desperate to reach her daughter before it was too late. Lily felt the adrenaline coursing through her veins as she faced off against the crazed woman, the hunting knife gripped tightly in her hands. She knew she had to buy her mother time to escape and call for help, but the fear that gripped her threatened to overwhelm her. As Karen lunged forward, Lily swung the knife, the blade slicing through the air. Karen let out a pained cry, her hand flying to her shoulder, and Lily seized the opportunity to push her back. "Stay away from me," Lily shouted, her voice trembling. "I won't let you hurt my mom." Karen's eyes narrowed, her face contorted with a mixture of fury and pain. "You little brat," she snarled. "You have no idea who you're dealing with." Lily's heart pounded as Karen advanced again, her movements slower but no less determined. She knew she couldn't keep this up for long. Her arms were already growing weary, and the knife felt heavy in her hands. Suddenly, an idea struck her. Glancing around, Lily spotted a thick branch lying on the ground. Without hesitation, she dropped the knife and lunged for the makeshift weapon, swinging it with all her might as Karen came at her. The branch connected with a sickening thud, and Karen let out a cry of pain, her knife clattering to the ground. Lily didn't stop to celebrate her victory, though. She knew she had to act fast if she wanted to save her mother. Grabbing the hunting knife, she turned to Mia, her eyes wild with determination. "Run," she shouted, pushing the weapon into her mother's hands. "Get out of here now." Mia's eyes filled with anguish, and Lily could see the internal struggle playing out on her face. "Lily, I can't leave you," she began, her voice trembling. "Go," Lily yelled, her eyes fierce with determination. "I'll hold her off. Just get out of here and call the police." Mia's throat tightened, and Lily could see the fear in her eyes. But she also saw the resolve, the unwavering love of a mother for her child. With a nod, Mia turned and ran, disappearing into the darkness. Lily watched her go, her heart pounding. She knew this was her chance to escape, to run and save herself. But the thought of abandoning her mother to this madwoman's wrath was unthinkable. Steeling her nerves, Lily turned to face Karen, the hunting knife held high. "It's just you and me now," she said, her voice surprisingly steady, "and I'm not going down without a fight." Karen's eyes gleamed with a twisted satisfaction, and Lily knew she was in for the fight of her life. But with her mother's safety hanging in the balance, she was determined to prevail, no matter the cost.